Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and it's a little bit too hot to work outside, so I've been doing some thinking, and I've been thinking about the seven deadly sins. And yeah, I could make a video about the seven deadly sins of preppers, but if you really think about it, the reason why the seven deadly sins, where it originate from, is as a sort of basic rules to get through life and to prevent certain problems. So in a way, it is the seven deadly sins, and in this case, from the eye point of Christianity, is actually a ground base of rules for survival. So we're going to analyze them today. So this is perhaps going to be interesting, a little bit thought process, more philosophy, but uh, let's take a look at the seven deadly sins. I'm going to use a paper because there's some English words that I don't use often, so I don't want to mispronounce them. So, um, the seven deadly sins. The first one is pride, and pride is the sin of pride is believing in one's own superiority. So yeah, how can we see this from a survival standpoint? Well, pride can be overconfidence in your own abilities. You think you're too prideful to think, oh, I have all this gear, I have all these uh, tools. I think I'm very good at survival skills, that kind of stuff. But that overconfidence can get you killed because eventually we all think we're going to survive, be the main character in our own story, but throughout history that's not the case. And even I got some examples for this. I once went for a very long bike ride during a very unusual hot day when I was very young and started prepping, and that was a big mistake. That was sort of my pride was being broken because I thought I was ready. I thought I was prepared enough, and I almost dehydrated. So yeah, that was a big lesson for me. And the thing that could counter this is actually making the mistakes and get humbled by it, and also get humbled by other people who perhaps know better than you, and you are too prideful to listen to their advice or their ways, and you think my way is better. And yeah, and it does not work in that situation or in a general sense of a situation. So yeah, another thing that humbled me is I once worked on a TV program about survival, and with other survivalists. And the thing was, I got pretty humbled. It was a humbling experience because I thought this would be a piece of cake, and yeah, it was yet again. That is my biggest weakness, and that's why I got humbled. It was on one of the hottest days of the year, like 38 degrees Celsius, and we only get to filter water in the soda cans that we found in the woods, going down in the valley to get water, boil it, and then you can only drink. And yeah, during 38 degrees for 3 days, that's I got dehydrated 2 times. So that is the thing that I was talking about. Being humbled will will help you that your pride doesn't get you killed. So yeah, that's a very important one, I would say. The second one is greed, and greed is the intense desire for material wealth or power. Yeah, material wealth. We can all see how this could happen in a situation like if you are hoarding all this kind of stuff, and I'm talking about irrational hoarding. Uh, yeah, then that could be a problem for several reasons. One, you you rely more on your supplies rather than on your skills. That's the first problem. So when you lose your supplies or they run out, then you had to start over again from the skills. So rely on your skills and use the supplies that you have as a sort of backup or insurance. Another thing is, if you got all these supplies, pantries and whatever you got, and your neighbors got nothing, that greed will get you killed, because people who are hungry and you don't want to share it, or they know you got it, and even if you ration it, give it in small bits, and for to ration it for other people so they don't use it too much, eventually there will be greedy people among them that will take it from you or steal or even kill you for it. So yeah, don't be greedy, uh, is the message for both parties. But the being greedy by irrational hoarding is the first thing that will get you into this mess. So that's why you also need to have a good communication with your community on why, how, and that trust, and that will last longer than if you are a stranger in your community and everybody knows you got supplies while they are hungry. So yeah, you know where this is heading. So yeah, I would say the for greed is being, how do you say this in English? That word that you will be, that you give, that you give a lot to the community. I don't know what that English word is. Perhaps type it in the comments, because I've forgotten. Charitable. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, being charitable can help you a lot. It will, to get over the greed. It will humble you into relying on relying not only on your supplies and hoarding, but also on your skills, and will give you a better social construction with the community around you, so they will not turn against you. They will see you as an asset instead of one of the problems for their survival. So yeah, uh, now we're getting at the deadly sin number three: lust. Lust is the uncontrolled desire for sexual pleasure. The thing we can, as a rule of survival, this can go into several things. The first one is, of course, where this is coming from, is that you stay loyal to your partner, for not only for the benefit of the children that you will have, but also for the cohesion of the community. Because as everybody is starting to fucking around with other people's partners, yeah, there will be distrust in the community, and the community will fall. That's one thing. Second is, the the un preventing unwanted pregnancies. So yeah, if you're fucking around, yeah, accidents could happen, and there will be an unwanted baby, which will cause a drain. An unplanned baby can be a serious drain on your supplies, financial, and also mental, your mental well-being, and your planning. So that could be a big problem, because it's a big responsibility. It takes a village to raise a child, as they say. Another thing is, the spreading of STDs, because yeah, back in the middle medieval times, you had things like syphilis, uh, or like they called it in certain countries, the French disease. But every country had such a slur name for what's called syphilis. But nonetheless, preventing STDs is very important, especially in a situation, shit at the fan or disaster, where there is no antibiotics or any other kind of medicine available, or professional medical help to encounter it. So in this case, butterfly, uh, prevention is the best option. So that's the reason why lust is a deadly sin, because it could really kill you if you just have sex willy-nilly unprotected. And that's also a reason, in a long-term disaster scenario, things like condoms will either be run out, not be produced, or not be produced in the, say, in a safe standard, or they will be degraded from the ones that left. So yeah, that's another thing. And how can you, how do you say this? How can you counter deadly sin, that is by being contra- by being contra- how do you say this, that you control yourself, that you I would, I'm losing the word here, that you have self-control. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Self-control to stay loyal to your partner, having trust in your partner, and vice versa, of course, because it has to come from both sides. And if you're going to have sexual activities, do it in a safe way, in the most safest way as possible. Make sure that you just don't go jumping in the bushes without even looking what's beneath the hood, so to say. All right, number 4. So we are now at envy, and envy is resentful jealousy or sadness to others people's traits, status, or possessions. And yeah, in a survival way, that is, of course, that you don't have to compare yourself to others. Uh, that is something that happens at work. At work, one of the younger persons that I'm learning up to learn a certain machine. He's very young and he wants everything. He wants the cars, he wants the money, he wants the status, and in this I notice that in this pursuit he makes bad decisions, and that is what we are actually talking about. Don't compare yourself always to others. Only do what's within your grasp, within your status, within your financial means, and be happy with it. Because if you are going to, it's like those ghetto people who are always trying to wear these expensive uh, clothing styles, not clothing styles, so brands, these expensive clothing brands. Yeah, they it's a big financial drain to get more status for a status that you don't need or are not even a part of it. So why would you pursue that and detriment yourself? And that is what envy does to people. And it's not only in financial ways, but it's also in stress over yourself, because as any prepper that has started, you always you always look up to someone. In my case, it was the Canadian prepper when I was young. That was my, in a way, a sort of example, and I tried to become him. But I realized that I would never have the um, same opportunities. That's one thing, because we live in Belgium, he lives in Canada. There are different laws, different rules. He had more financial capital that he invested in and took the risk, but I, just as a normal work person, uh, I could not take those same risk at the time. Now it's a little bit better, but at the time I could have taken risk loans to become him, but that would have not do any good to me, because I would wanted to grow suddenly, instead of like the journey that I did from step to step to step to the person that I am now. And I'm very grateful in that regard. So yeah, that could be dangerous to copy others, is actually the best way to do it. So how can you counter this? Yet again, be humble, be realistic, and it's more like acceptance. Accept that, and all the people who say no, no, you don't have to accept mediocrity, always try to aim high. I find that that's the person who say that are already there. So yeah, it's like I said, the journey is with small steps, and any get rich quick schemes or learn fast in a short period of time. These are people that are like the gurus who want something from you, and that's not a good mentality. So acceptance of your borders, not borders, or what is within your grasp, and try to safely do it step by step. All right, but before we go into deadly sin number 5, I'm going to act on the sin of pride, and that is my book's called Bloody Crosses and Jason Murders. It's in Dutch. It's a detective series. If you're interested, take a look. There will be a link in the description. So, this is my deadly sin of pride, showcasing. But if you're interested, take a look, I would say. All right. Number 5. Gluttony. Gluttony is the overindulgence of food and drink, and it is, it is especially something they wanted to do in a time where food production was very insecure. Famines were all over before the Green Revolution and mechanical and agricultural revolution, industrialization. It was very food security was a big problem in any period or place. So yeah, they wanted the people to not overindulge because we all have to accept and look at ourselves and be honest that we eat too much. Uh, I myself, I notice that I have to make an effort not to eat too much because all the food now is, yeah, more caloric dense than the same food from so many years ago, or in a way that you sin. If I go out, yeah, of course I will not eat a carrot. I will have probably have a pint of beer or something that the people eat over there to share. So yeah, it's all not always that easy, but that's the reason why gluttony is one of the deadly sins. So yeah, if you if you try to live in a semi self-reliant way, you cannot just take your potatoes and bake and fry them up to some French fries. By the way, these are Belgian fries, just to let you know as a proud Belgian. But uh, yeah, that you just eat what your body needs, and that way your rations, your the food production you do on your own homestead will last longer, and it's a more security in case something bad happens, like a bad harvest, somebody stole a part of your harvest, or Colorado beetles eat your potatoes. Um, yeah, a bad storm, hail, all these things can happen. Fire in your house, and your rations or food production that you harvested has gone up in flames, a flood, and now is everything fungi. Those things could happen. Pests, insects, rats could nibble on your food storage. These are all things that could happen, and to make it last longer, yeah, for food. And it's not only about food, but also about drink. Uh, so if you make alcohol, of course, don't drink too much alcohol, or you will get a hangover, will be less productive the next day, or you will do something very stupid, make a bad decision while you're drunk, that kind of stuff, and it's bad for overall health. And yeah, that's the reason why gluttony. And yet again, how do we counter this? It is all about discipline and self-control. And the big difference why I say discipline more over self-control is you got to have the discipline to not only limit yourself but also others. For example, if you got a family with small children, we all know children who are growing, they tend to eat more than they need. And yeah, children are not the most self-controlled creatures. Or if you have a partner, yeah, it's very difficult to be the only one in self-control so the others can have more to eat. That's not how it works. We all do our part and we all take what we need. And yeah, if somebody over the indulgence, you have to control them in a certain way, any way that you want, that you see fit. But if we want to survive together, we do not only have to look at our sins, but also at the sins for the people around us. Otherwise, uh, bad apples will ruin the good apples in the basket. Right. So discipline is how we counter this. Let's see how long we are. Or we're at 90 minutes. Alright, now we're at number 6, wrath. Wrath is the intense, uncontrolled anger, rage, or hatred, often leading to desire of revenge. And this comes from the thing of an eye for an eye makes the world blind. If you got a problem with somebody else who has done you wrong, or you perceive them to have done something wrong, you dig two graves for yourself and for them if you let keep letting these feelings and emotions get the better of you. That's also in the case of self-defense. For example, anybody would say if somebody comes onto your property or break into your house, just shoot them, kill them, and it will be a better place if you talk like a philosopher like Nietzsche. But you have to take in account, and it is the reason why you have to be disciplined about this, because either the even though that person tried to attack you and you did it in self-defense, try to rob you in your own house, and you defended yourself or your property, whether you try to protect a third person who is being attacked and you hurt them badly or kill them in the process to help a third person, that person that you attacked, hurted, killed, they have friends, they have family, they have partners, they have children. And guess what? These persons will try to take revenge upon you. And this is yet again that thing of an eye for an eye makes the world blind. So the I don't say you cannot defend yourself or others. What I'm trying to say is try to be try to control and be aware of the actions that you do, and try to limit it in the best manner that you're able can at at that moment in that time. It's very difficult, but it can save a lot of problems, and perhaps even give try to make that person realize what their wicked ways, and that they can have redemption. But yeah, an eye for an eye makes the world blind, and that's why there is still so much hate and war and bad things in this world. But yeah, uh, that's why you don't. I see a lot of people who who had fights with other peoples, and they're still, even after so many years, still holding that grudge, and it's bad for your health, bad for your stress. So that's what I said about digging a grave for yourself and for somebody else that you want to put inside of it. Uh, and rage. If you get angry about something, try to regulate your emotions, because yeah, I've seen it too many times that persons make irrational decisions or do something stupid that they will regret for the rest of their life. It's whether it's road rage, whether it's a breakup with a partner or somebody you were dating. Don't try to regulate your emotions. What I'm trying to say. Try to be the better person, and you will go a further longer way than whatever that that little devil on your shoulder is try to say that you had to do. But don't also listen to the angel on your other shoulder. Try to make decisions for your own what is good and right, instead of going to one of the extremes, is what I'm trying to say. And that's the thing that we can do to regulate it. Try to yeah, try to regulate your emotions is the best uh, way to do this, and you will have clearer head. In a self-defense case, you will not get into troubles because somebody tried to pick on you with a fight. A drunk person that tried to fight you, just walk away or de-escalate. I made a whole video about all the steps you have to take to be in the right for a self-defense case, that kind of stuff. So yeah, regulate your emotions, and it can hold a lot of stop a lot of prevent a lot of problems. All right, so we're now at the last deadly sin, and that is sloth. Sloth is laziness, apathy, or avoidance of spiritual or physical work. So let's deconstruct this. Laziness, of course. Laziness in survival, of course, we all have to work. Everybody has to work to do their part, and yeah, try to do what you can and perhaps a little bit more. It's like Jesus said, just go the extra mile when he was carrying the equipment of the Roman soldiers than he needed to show to. And it's not only about getting the work done and doing a little bit extra, that you will have some extra food, pay, whatever it is, that you go the extra mile, but it's also about giving a good example. Um, for if you It's like if you go to the gym with other persons, or if you go to the army and you have certain recruits that are less motivated. It's so motivating when you go the extra mile and inspire somebody else to do that, that they have the feeling that, to give them the feeling that, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. Or I don't want to let him do all the work, I will do my part. That kind of inspiration triumphs this laziness. Apathy, apathy, yeah, that's the thing that is kind of difficult when you are deeper in a long-term scenario, because after a certain moment you will think, why do I bother? And that's actually more dangerous than laziness, because that's a downwards spiral if you keep in an echo chamber. And that's why you need somebody to inspire you to do better, to do more, to become a better person. And that can defeat not only the laziness but also the apathy. um, and it's also for example, if you it's like we said in the beginning, if you start prepping and you think you can just grow your way straight up, no, it takes time, it takes work. uh, and when you're there, it's you will have to keep maintaining that work. For example, if you can see, these are my potato plants. And yeah, it's not just like you just take a pot, do some ground in them, potato. No, you have to take care of these plants, make sure they don't burn up, make sure they have water enough, make sure that pests do pests like rats or Colorado beetles do not harm them. Make sure that the the fertilizer you use is is adequate. Make sure that the soil is great for this type of potato. Make sure that they don't suffocate each other. These are all important things. Take work, and it's about taking pride in your work. Yeah, which is a good thing, to take pride in the work that you do, not the pride of the negative pride. Is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's very important, to inspire others and get inspired by others to become better. So it's like it's like playing tennis. I throw the ball to you and you throw it back, and that way we keep on going the game. uh, all right. Next thing, not the next thing, but the next thing of sloth was avoidance of spiritual or physical work. And yeah, we all, and it is something that I sometimes, how do I say this, get caught myself. There are certain jobs that I don't like to do. Which the biggest one is bureaucratic work. I hate filing in bureaucratic. I have I had a lot of problems in my past, and even this year with the bureaucratics when I started to give survival lessons, and all the bureaucratic bullshit that comes with it. And I even got fined by it because I did something wrong with the paperwork, and that's the reason why I try to avoid it. And in a worst case scenario, sometimes I even neglected it, and that came biting me in the ass. And that made me realize I have to do double the effort into this. And yeah, so that's the physical work. The spiritual work is actually also very important, I would say. The reason why is physical work. Able-bodied person can do the physical work if they are inspired or have the will to do it. But spiritual work, that's that comes from within, and a lot of people are in self-denial, or they have certain ways of looking at the world, at their places, at them, even at themselves, and that needs some spiritual working. And the problem with that is you need to be spiritually awoken. It can be by someone, perhaps, for example, my grandfather has brought me so much spiritual guidance to become the man that I am today, that kind of stuff. Or perhaps it's somebody you admire, perhaps it's a famous person you admire, or somebody from history, but or religious perhaps, but spiritually it's hard to maintain, I would say, because the the more worse a situation gets, like losing a loved one, failing at certain at certain works that you try to do, or a task that you're doing that you, like me, know that you're not good at, but you try to do it anyway. So yeah, that is something difficult to maintain, and that's the reason why the you know what, I will make a video about the spiritual ways to motivate or help you. uh, in my case, uh, I'm not a religious person, I'm actually an atheist, but I discovered, for example, that I'm actually a Buddhist, without knowing, because a lot of ways that are read about Buddha and his works, that I'm very compatible with it, and that's the way how I live my life, and that I'm happier than ever. But I never realized that I was a Buddhist in that way. So I'm actually I'm an atheist Buddhist if you look at it like that, ironically. But yeah, we're going to make a whole video about that in the future. But how we can how we counter sloth, it's by motivation. And motivation comes either from within yourself, that one day you realize, I need to get my shit together, or somebody makes you realize to get your shit together. So yeah, um, I would say these are the seven deadly sins, and how it can help you as a prepper. And I want to also, because I'll probably make a video about this spiritual thing, I want to say to the people, don't, even if certain things don't interest you, like I said, I'm not religious, but I like to read from other people's religious works. For example, I like to read about Jewish writers, about Buddhist, the stories of Buddha. I like to read sometimes in the Bible, uh, to get insight in how people used to, not only used to do things, but how they look at the things, how they got for inspiration for the good parts, to learn from the bad parts, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a little thing to think about. So um, I hope you found this video interesting. It's about 32 minutes. I've been rambling a long time. I think I'm going back at work, even though it's a little bit hot. But uh, so like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and see you next video. Cheers.